Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into one of the most pivotal, maybe most debated chapters, I think, in the whole Bible, Daniel chapter 7.
Absolutely. It's famous for those visions, right? The beasts, the heavenly figure.
Exactly. If you've heard about, strange beasts rising from the sea, or this figure, one like a son of man coming on the clouds, this is definitely for you. We're trying to cut through some of the noise.
Yeah, our mission really is to see what this ancient text actually says, especially about that Son of Man character. Because, the fascinating part is the chapter itself gives an interpretation.
Right. It's like having the author's notes right there in the margin.
Pretty much. An angelic guide basically spells it out. But a lot of the common ways people read it seem to just, well, miss that explicit part.
That's what we want to unpack. We've got this incredibly vivid imagery, almost cinematic. And our sources suggest that if you look closely, especially at the explanation in the chapter, it challenges a lot of assumptions.
It really does. Particularly the idea that the Son of Man must be a single messianic figure.
Yeah, that very common interpretation. So let's dive into the vision itself first. Set the scene for us.
Okay, so Daniel has this night vision. He sees a great sea, all churned up, chaotic, and out of it come four huge beasts. Different ones.
Quite terrifying from the description.
Definitely. First, a lion, but with eagle's wings. Then a bear, kind of lopsided, with three ribs clenched in its teeth. Yeah. Then a leopard, but stranger still, four wings, four heads. And finally, this fourth beast. It's just described as terrifying, dreadful, incredibly strong, with iron teeth and 10 horns. Totally different.
Just pure monstrous power. And these aren't just random nightmare fuel, are they? There's a meaning behind them.
Right. Our sources, and this is pretty standard in scholarship and Jewish tradition, see these as symbols for successive empires. Big oppressive powers that ruled over Israel.
So we're talking Babylon first.
Babylon, yeah, then Persia, then Greece, and that terrifying fourth beast is usually identified with Rome. These were the empires that, historically dominated and oppressed the Jewish people.
Okay, so that sets up the context. Earthly, chaotic, oppressive power. But then the vision shifts dramatically, doesn't it?
It really does. That's Daniel 7, verse 13. After all these beasts from the sea, Daniel says, I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like a son of man came with the clouds of heaven.
Ah, the famous verse. And the contrast is key here.
Absolutely critical. The beasts come from the chaotic sea, the sort of unholy worldly realm. But this figure comes with the clouds of heaven. From the ordered divine realm, it signals something completely different. Divine authority, maybe. Justice.
And this is where that interpretation we mentioned earlier usually comes in. People hear Son of Man and immediately think of a singular divine figure.
Yes, especially in Christian tradition, it's very often equated directly with Jesus. That phrase has become almost synonymous with him for many.
But our sources are saying, hold on, the text itself might tell us something different. And you mentioned something about the language.
Right. It's worth noting that this whole chapter, Daniel 7, isn't in Hebrew like most of the Old Testament. It's actually written in Aramaic.
Okay, so the original phrase isn't the Hebrew Ben Adam, but the Aramaic.
Baranash.
Yeah.
And while it means human being or son of man, the crucial point, regardless of the linguistic nuances, is what the text does with the symbol.
Yeah.
It doesn't leave us guessing.
Because the angel steps in later.
Exactly. An angel explicitly interprets the vision for Daniel. And that, according to our sources, is the definitive guide. It's the author providing the key right within the narrative.
Okay, so this is the moment of clarity. Forget speculation. What does the angel say this Son of Man figure represents?
This is where it gets really interesting and honestly quite surprising if you're only familiar with the common view. Look at Daniel 7, verse 18. The angel says flat out, but the holy ones of the Most High shall receive the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever. Yes, forever and ever.
Wait, read that again. The holy ones.
The holy ones, plural. The Aramaic is kadoshim. It doesn't say a holy one or the Son of Man. It says the holy ones inherit the kingdom.
And who are the holy ones in this context?
Our source material is crystal clear on this, drawing from the broader context of Daniel and the Hebrew Bible. The holy ones of the Most High consistently refers to the faithful people of Israel, the community.
So the angel interprets the Son of Man figure not as an individual, but as the people of Israel.
That's exactly what the text indicates through the angel. And it's not just verse 18. The angel doubles down later just to make sure we get it, it seems.
Okay, where?
Verses 23 through 27. The angel is explaining the terrifying fourth beast, that fourth kingdom, and how its dominion will eventually be taken away. And then verse 27 says, "Then the kingship and dominion and greatness of the kingdoms under all the heavens will be given to the people of the holy ones of the Most High."
The people of the holy ones. Wow, it says it right there.
Explicitly, given to the people. The angel never identifies the "a son of man" symbol with a single individual. The interpretation provided within the chapter itself is consistently collective. It's Israel, the faithful community, who receives everlasting dominion after the oppressive empires fall.
It's kind of shocking how clear that is when you actually look at verses 18 and 27.
It is, isn't it?
I mean, how does that get missed so often? The text provides its own interpretation. It feels, I don't know, almost like deliberate avoidance sometimes in popular readings.
Well, traditions can be powerful, but our sources really emphasize this point. The text interprets itself, and it interprets the Son of Man figure collectively as Israel, the saints, the holy ones who finally inherit the kingdom. It's a vindication narrative for the oppressed people.
And it fits the pattern of the rest of the vision, too, right? You mentioned the beasts.
Exactly. Each beast is a singular symbol, a lion, a bear, etc., but represents a collective entity, an empire.
Babylon, Persia, Greece, Rome.
Right, so it makes perfect symbolic sense that the singular figure of the one like a son of man also represents a collective entity.
The people of the holy ones. Israel.
The pattern is consistent, singular symbol, collective meaning. It holds true for the beasts and for the Son of Man figure.
Okay, that's a powerful internal argument from the chapter itself. But does this idea fit anywhere else in the Bible? This reversal, where Israel, after being oppressed, comes out on top?
Oh, absolutely. Our sources stress this isn't an isolated idea in Daniel 7. It's part of a much larger recurring theme throughout the Hebrew Bible, especially in the prophets. This idea of a great reversal of fortunes.
What kind of reversal are we talking about?
We're talking about Israel's ultimate vindication and, significantly, the submission of the very nations that oppress them. Not necessarily annihilation, but a recognition of God's sovereignty exercised through his chosen people.
Okay, can you give some examples? Where else do we see this?
Sure. Think about Isaiah 14, verse 2. It talks about Israel taking their captors captive and ruling over their oppressors, a direct reversal.
Wow, okay.
Or Micah chapter 4, verses 1 to 3. You get this image of nations streaming to Zion, to Jerusalem, seeking God's law and instruction from Israel.
So the former oppressors or just other nations coming to learn from Israel?
Exactly. And Zechariah 8, verse 23, paints an even more vivid picture. 10 people from different nations grabbing the garment of one Jew and saying, "Let us go with you, for we have heard that God is with you." It's about recognizing God's presence with his people.
That's quite a consistent theme then. What about Isaiah? Our sources mention some specific passages there too.
Yes, definitely. Look at Isaiah 60, verses 10 through 12. It talks about foreigners rebuilding Jerusalem's walls, their kings serving Israel, and it adds a stark warning. "For the nation and kingdom that will not serve you shall perish. Those nations shall be utterly laid waste."
Strong words. Service and recognition seem key.
They are. And look also at Isaiah 49, verses 22 and 23. It depicts kings and queens bowing down to Israel, becoming like nursing parents, licking the dust off their feet. Again, it's imagery of profound reversal and homage.
So this submission isn't just a vague spiritual idea. It sounds very concrete.
It is. And that's a crucial point from our source material. This isn't just being spiritualized away into some universal ethereal concept. The prophets, and Daniel 7 in this reading, are talking about a genuine geographic, historical, and ethnic restoration, meaning real nations, real history. The nations that ruled will be ruled, or at least submit to the divine order centered around God's people. Those who oppressed Israel will see and acknowledge their exaltation. It's about historical justice, a tangible shift in the world order as understood by the prophets.
That puts Daniel 7 in a much broader context. It's not just an isolated, weird vision.
Not at all. It's deeply embedded in this prophetic hope. When you consider the centuries of suffering, exile, oppression under these empires, Daniel 7 isn't just some spooky apocalypse story. It's fundamentally restorative.
A promise of justice.
A powerful promise that, yes, justice will ultimately prevail. Empires rise and fall like those beasts. They are transient. But the kingdom given to the holy ones, to Israel, is described as everlasting. That's the ultimate hope.
So wrapping this up then, the core message, according to this reading of Daniel 7,
is that it's a profound affirmation of collective redemption. It's about Israel's vindication and restoration after immense suffering. And it envisions a future age where the nations recognize God's sovereignty, a divine order with God's people, Israel, playing a central role. It's not primarily about a single divine man descending, but about the ascendancy of the oppressed holy ones.
A story of collective hope, collective endurance, and ultimately collective inheritance of an everlasting kingdom.
Exactly. It transforms the chapter from perhaps a purely Christological proof text for some into a powerful statement about God's faithfulness to his people throughout history and into the future, a vision of ultimate justice for the collective.
It really makes you think differently about that Son of Man phrase in this context.
It certainly should prompt a closer look at how the text itself uses and interprets its own symbols.
Okay, so that leaves us, as always, with something for you, our listeners, to think about. Here it is. If the Son of Man in Daniel 7 is explicitly interpreted within the chapter as the collective people of Israel, the holy ones, what does that understanding change about how you might approach other prophetic texts?
Yeah, or how we think about the whole relationship between, say, divine promises, historical justice, and the specific role of a chosen people in the grand story the Bible tells.
Lots to chew on there. Definitely worth pondering. That's all the time we have for this deep dive. Thanks for joining us.
Until next time.